All right, so I reverse engineered Airbnb's audience magnetism using the BRANDEM OS mathematical framework. What I discovered explains their billion-dollar advantage over traditional hotels. And it's not what you think. Now, I know this is a cliched example, but bear with me. While Marriott, Hilton, and every other major hotel chain fights for market share with 120-point resonance scores, Airbnb achieved something mathematically extraordinary, a resonance score of over 300 points. Most founders think Airbnb won because they were cheaper or had more inventory. That's mathematically wrong. Airbnb's average price per night is actually 12% higher than comparable hotels. And in 2008, when they launched, they had virtually zero inventory. Yet, they created such powerful audience magnetism that customers actively avoided hotels, even when hotels were cheaper and more convenient. Now, the secret isn't their business model, it's in their resonance mathematics. Now, the resonant pillar measures your magnetic pull with your ideal audience through this equation, right? So R, which is resonance, TA plus AP plus BV. Here, TA is target alignment, how perfectly you match your audience. AP stands for audience psychographics, how deeply you understand their psychology. BV is behavioral validation, proof that they actually act. And PR is precision resonance. This is the accuracy of your targeting. PS stands for pull strength, your advocacy multiplier. And TF is a temporal factor, how resonance scales over time. Now, most hotels optimize for demographics, right? Age, income, location. That's why they plateau at 120 points. Airbnb optimized for psychology. That's why they reached 300 plus. Now let's look at this mathematical breakdown, right? The first one is target alignment. They scored 24 out of 25. Hotels, target demographics, right? They're business travelers age 35 to 55, household income $75,000, frequent travelers, 6+ trips per year. Airbnb targeted psychological patterns, people seeking authentic local experiences, those who felt disconnected from, sterile corporate environments. Individuals wanted to belong anywhere. And the mathematical difference? Hotels target what people are. Airbnb targeted who people want to become. It's a big difference. Let's look at audience psychographics. And they scored 23 out of 25. This is where Airbnb's mathematical genius becomes obvious. Hotels focused on functional needs, right? Things like a clean room, reliable service, convenient locations, standard amenities, and things like that. Airbnb connected to identity aspirations. Things like, I'm the kind of person who seeks authentic experiences, or I am adventurous enough to stay in a, local person's home, or I value connection over convenience. Or something like, I'm part of a global community of explorers, right? Look at their early messaging. Belong anywhere, not stay anywhere, belong anywhere. That single word shift it increased their audience psychographic score by, 8 points mathematically within the BRANDEM framework. Let's look at behavioral validation. They scored 22 out of 25. Now, hotels had solid behavioral validation, right? People obviously needed places to sleep when traveling and on that. But Airbnb validated something deeper. People were already seeking local authentic experiences. They were staying longer in destinations, eating at local restaurants versus hotel restaurants, seeking neighborhood experiences versus, tourist attractions, right? And booking apartments for group trips. But look, Airbnb did not create this behavior, right? They just simply systematized existing behavior that hotels ignored. If you look at the pull strength multiplier, it's 2.8. That's what they scored. And this is where the mathematical magic happens. Hotels' pull strength comes from things like loyalty programs, right? So rewards for repeat behavior, or corporate partnerships. This is convenience incentives, or brand familiarity, right? Trust through recognition. Now, Airbnb's pull strength came from things like identity reinforcement. Each stay reinforced their self-concept. Story creation, unique experiences worth sharing. Community belonging, like part of a movement, right? Not just a customer. And network effects, of course. More hosts means more unique options. And the mathematical result, Airbnb became, that guests became evangelists. The hotels guests became repeat customers, right? So their net promoter score went up 76 points, whereas for hotels it was just 31. Okay, so here's where Airbnb's resonance mathematics created exponential growth. When the traditional hotel growth pattern was more marketing, more booking, more revenue, and then, more marketing. It's linear, it's expensive, it's unsustainable. What about Airbnb? Their pattern was better audience alignment, stronger identity connection, more passionate advocates, natural word of mouth, more ideal customers. That leads to better audience alignments. So this is self-reinforcing, it's exponential, it's unstoppable. So the mathematics compound over time through the temporal factor, right? So hotels' temporal factor, it was 0.09. Airbnb's 1.3. Most founders make the same mistakes that hotels made, right? They optimize for demographics instead of psychographics, right? They optimize for features instead of identity transformation. They optimize for satisfaction instead of advocacy, transactions instead of belonging. Look, linear growth that requires constant effort is an uphill battle. But when you reverse engineer Airbnb's resonance approach, you're looking at things like targeting psychological patterns, not demographics. So I'm going to repeat. Who are the people naturally drawn to your type of solution, right? What deeper need drives their search? Number 2, connect to aspirational identities, not just functional benefits. How does using your solution makes them feel about themselves? What kind of a person chooses your approach? Number 3, validate behaviors, not just interest. What are they already doing that proves they need your solution? Where are they spending time and money on related activities? Number 4, build pull through identity reinforcement. How can each interaction strengthen their self-concept? What story do they tell themselves and others about choosing you or your business? Okay, let's look at what the 300 plus resonance score creates, right? What does it result in? Customer acquisition cost drops by 60%, right? So pull versus push marketing. Customer lifetime value increases by 240%, identity versus transaction. Word of mouth referrals increase by 450%, advocacy versus satisfaction. Price sensitivity decreases by 75%, identity versus commodity. Now, Airbnb didn't just build a booking platform. They built a mathematical resonance engine that made hotels obsolete for their ideal audience. Now, you can use my formula to calculate your own score. Most businesses score between 80 and 150, right? Getting to 200 plus changes everything. Getting to 300 plus makes the competition irrelevant, right? Now, look, mathematics don't lie. The question is, are you ready to stop competing on demographics and start dominating through psychological resonance? That's the question, right? Now, drop a comment with your current industry, and I'll tell you the single biggest resonance mathematics mistakes businesses in your space are making and how to fix it. In the next video, We're breaking down the authority mathematics behind Dollar Shave Club and their viral domination, right? And the equation will shock you. I'll see you in the next video.